So good morning everyone. Today I'll be showing you the BERT model that we created using Google Colab. Now obviously it's way more complex than the other projects, and that's because we had to use multiple libraries from Python, and we had to install the BERT model, and we had to train the model and basically use some data sets and test the test cases. And it's definitely more complex than the other project, but the main thing behind this project, or the main idea basically, is you have a text which is basically, as you can see here, with a data column, and you have a label. So the label is either negative or positive, which means either the wording of the phrase is negative, in which case the output will be 0, or it's positive, in which case the output will be 1. So if based on the tone of the text you realize that, oh, like, this phrase is leaning toward more negative tone, then you will label it as 0. But if something you see like a phrase that's enjoyable or something that's positive toned, then it will be labeled as 1. And the goal of obviously the BERT model is to use the natural language processing in vectors and basically determine whether the phrase is leaning toward a more negative tone or leaning toward a more positive tone. And this obviously has a lot of use cases, like even in social media, when you're trying to filter out the comments that you feel are hate speech, or that doesn't fit in the tone, like someone is trying to say something negative and they're trying to discourage the celebrity or whoever that person is. So you want to prevent that, and the best way to prevent it is obviously using a natural language processing library like the BERT model. And here we obviously trained it. Now I'm not going to be running it just because the compiling and time that it takes to train the model takes a lot. Like, if you don't have the membership obviously with Google Colab, then it will take few hours. Obviously it depends on the person and your computer, but basically the results that I already pre-rendered, as you can see here, using a completely different data set that the model hasn't seen before, it was able to determine whether the tone was positive, like a lovely librarian, something positive out there, and it labeled it as 1, and something as I suffered, which is telling more of a negative story, in like a sad story in a way. So something leaning toward more negative was labeled as 0. So this is basically it. You're basically trying to compare the data set with um with a specific, like, the model is being trained with a specific predetermined data set, which is composed of 50,000 phrases. And after it has been trained 50,000 times, it's given an input that it has never seen before, and based on that, it determines the output. This is just a quick example. Now, obviously, there is a lot of things we could do with this project. We could even evolve it in the future, but for the most part, this is what it does. The math is obviously super complex, and I wouldn't go deep into it. And if you want to learn more, feel free to contact me, and you could obviously contact me using my website page, or if you have a comment, feel free to drop it down. Thank you.